Hello and welcome to your research senior project. I am so excited to be working with all of you this quarter to complete your senior project requirement. This is not just a required component at Cal Poly, but it's a chance for you to explore a topic that hopefully you're interested in and to become an expert in that topic, and also to get some experience working on an actual research project. So the college has developed very specific course learning objectives for your research senior projects. These are listed on this slide, but the first one is to be able to synthesize relevant concepts, theories, and evidence from empirical research to justify the need for and importance of a research or creative project. Number 2 is adopt a leadership role in the design and execution of a research or creative project. Analyze primary or secondary data or information in the spirit of empirical inquiry. This quarter, we are going to be working on secondary data analysis. We will not be looking at primary data. And then lastly, effectively disseminate project findings in oral and written form and at a level appropriate for professional audiences. We'll talk about the requirements in the next slide, but you will be creating and writing different forms of communication. So you'll be developing a final paper in terms of that written format, and you're also going to be creating an oral presentation, so fulfilling that requirement around the communication in terms of oral form. So to meet those course learning objectives, the college has very specific student requirements for completing your senior project. So the first one is the senior project requires a minimum of 30 hours of work over the course of the quarter. So this comes out to about 3 hours per week. So in terms of expectations, you should be spending a total of at least 3 hours per week on this course. The next requirement is to fulfill all requirements of the project agreed upon by the student and advisor in the initial contract, including any faculty-approved ethics and safety trainings commensurate with the nature of the data collected or community involvement. This first week, you are going to submit a contract that has the title of the research project that you'll be working on. So please make sure to do that. I recommend reviewing the syllabus and making sure that you're familiar with the assignments that will be due this quarter, as well as the due dates. The third requirement is the submission of a 1,000-word written document on your experience working on the project. So 1,000 words comes out to about 4 pages. So it's not super long, but it should be around 4 pages. It needs to be at least 1,000 words to meet the requirements of the college. Now, we are going to be working on the components of this final paper throughout the quarter. So you'll have written assignments that are going to be broken up into smaller assignments so that you're not writing one big paper at the end. Your paper is going to include the writing of the introduction section for the manuscript that we will be developing. You've done this before in Health 318 in epidemiology, so this isn't anything new. I will provide guidelines and kind of refresh your memory when we get to that part, but you've already done this before. You're also going to include some self-reflection on what you learned during the quarter. So there's 2 self-reflection assignments that are included in the course schedule. The first one is going to focus on what you learned about the different topics covered in the research project. So for example, the Affordable Care Act and the requirements around tobacco cessation coverage. Also, what do evidence-based tobacco cessation treatments look like? You'll also be able to write about the source of data that we're using for this research project. So the Behavioral Risk Factor Surveillance System, or BRFIS data. And then also you'll write a second reflection that really focuses on the research and manuscript submission process in terms of what you learned about that process. So in summary, that 1,000-word document is going to include basically the introduction to a manuscript and some self-reflection. You're also going to be working on developing tables for the manuscript, which you can also include in that document as well. The fourth requirement is submitting that final written product to your advisor to be added to the senior project repository. We do keep copies of those documents for senior project at the department level. And then lastly, the college requires that you deliver an oral presentation of your experiences and your findings from the project. I've been pretty flexible about this in terms of what students want to do. If you would like to record a YouTube video that is then watched by members of the research team, you are welcome to do that. If there is a specific conference or something or some sort of event that you want to present your work at, you're welcome to do so as well. We'll talk about that as the time gets closer, but that oral presentation isn't due until the end of the quarter. There are no required textbooks for this course. One text that has been helpful for students in their senior project is this The Elements of Style by William Strunk and White and Engel. There is a PDF that's on Canvas, so you don't need to buy this, but it is recommended that you review it. I will also be posting other things for you to view, videos to watch, and things to read on Canvas as well, so please watch for those. There are several assignments spread out throughout the 10-week quarter, and they are worth a total of 300 points. So all of the points in this class total 300. You've got your contract that's due in the first week. There are also going to be times when we might need to meet or we do some sort of discussions. That participation is going to be worth 30 points. You'll complete a table summarizing papers that you find to conduct a literature review for that introduction section. You've also got 2 reflection assignments that you'll work on that are worth 20 points each. You'll create an outline of the introduction that you'll submit, and then you're also going to submit manuscript tables, which I will help you with when we get closer to those. You've also got your oral presentation and your final paper as the kind of final submissions for this course. So we talked about kind of the established course learning objectives and the student requirements that have been established by the college. But I want to talk a little bit about some informal goals that I have for all of you this quarter. So the first one is I would like to create a sense of community and support among seniors as you graduate. You are all seniors, and there are several of you in this course this quarter, which is great. So I really hope that you all get to know each other if you don't know each other, and I hope you get to work together on some of the work this quarter so you feel like you have a supportive cohort of peers that you're working with. It's a really great opportunity when you have multiple people enrolled in senior project at once. The second one is I don't want you to be stressed out about your senior project. I want you to take pride in what you're doing, and I want you to take the work that you're doing seriously, but this shouldn't be some huge source of stress in your life this quarter. I've broken up assignments into different weeks, so there shouldn't be any big assignment that you're kind of having to complete all at once. So it's broken down into achievable, kind of smaller tasks throughout the quarter. So hopefully you're not stressed out. And if you are stressed out about the work in this class, please come talk to me. And then the last one on this slide is to produce something that will help you in terms of your professional and career growth. So whether you're looking to jump straight into the workforce and get a job in public health or something related to public health, or if you're planning on applying to some sort of graduate school or clinical school, I want you to have something that you can talk about in your interviews. They're going to ask you about your experiences. And so I want you to have something, a specific example that you can take to that interview and talk about with the people that are conducting that interview. And then something that's not on this slide, but is really, I would say, an informal goal for me. Depending on how far we get on the research project this quarter, my goal is to submit our research project for publication to a peer-reviewed journal. Now, preparing a manuscript for submission to a journal, identifying a journal, and actually submitting a paper to a journal is a really long process and is time intensive. So I don't know how far we'll get, but if we are effective this quarter and we get through all the things that we need to get through and we're able to do so, that's one of my big goals, is to get that research submitted to a journal for publication. The last thing I want to note is the class format for this quarter. So this class is scheduled to be an asynchronous online class, meaning that everything is, for the most part, it's posted to Canvas. You complete everything online according to the due dates each week. However, you are working on a research project, and so there are going to be times when we might need to meet to discuss that research project. So I'm going to try and limit the amount of meetings, but there are definitely going to be weeks when we need to meet. So I'm created a doodle poll on Canvas, and that link is available under the week 1 module in Canvas. Please complete that doodle poll. It's got a list of options for days and times. Please indicate which days and times you are generally available during the week. I would love to identify one time in which people are available every week for the most part. If we absolutely need to, we can identify 2 different options, but hopefully we can find a 1-hour block during the week in which everyone is available to meet, just in case we need to do so. So make sure to complete all the other tasks for this week that are on the Canvas module, and please let me know if you have any questions. Again, I am really excited to be working with all of you this quarter.